Here's why I'll never stop talking about this. I don't really like to share too much in specific details, things that happened to me when I was younger. It's irrelevant to the person that I am today. But I think that it's important that you understand how far this version that you see today has come compared to where it started. I went through some horrific things as a child, and I didn't have any real guidance. By 13, I was smoking weed every single day. By 15, I was already drinking all of the time. I was doing heavier drugs, and I had to have an abortion without letting any adult know and going through that on my own. I was a kid trying to navigate and process all of these things that have happened to me without any tools and any support. And that way of living followed me up into my adulthood. I continued to drink, I continued to do drugs, I continued to party, I continued to look for love outside of myself. And it wasn't until I got pregnant, 17 years with my first son, that I took a step back and I said something needs to change because I don't want him to have the same childhood I had. I want his life to be better. And even though I knew that consciously, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to be better. I just knew, okay, I'm not going to drink and I'm not going to be doing all these drugs. Like that was the best that I knew how to do. I didn't do therapy or anything until later on in life. And that's one of the reasons I don't believe that asking for help makes you weak, which is a cycle that I had to break for a very long time because of my hyper independence. I always wanted to do things on my own. I never wanted to ask for help. And none of this has been perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. I've had relationships expose things that I thought that I had already worked on. I've ignored my intuition whenever I would have a feeling. I learned lessons the hard ways, and there's been moments that the old version of me makes an appearance. But when I look at the person that I was and I look at who I am today, the distance between those two people is wild to me sometimes. That's why I will never believe that you're stuck being the person who life makes you be because of things that have happened to you. I know what it feels like to look at parts of yourself and think, man, this is just the way that I am. Sometimes it's who you've become because of the things that you've lived through, the things that you were taught, or the things that you weren't taught, and what you had to figure out on your own. And if you don't like where that version of you is taking you in your life, you have the choice to change it. That's ultimately what led me to this work. I know what guidance did for me. I know what happened the moment that I decided I'm going to surrender and let somebody else guide me, somebody that knows more than me, someone that's gone through this themselves, and let other people see what I couldn't see yet. And now I get to be that person for somebody else. I get to help people recognize the cycles that they've been living in, break them, and consciously decide who they're becoming next.